Hi guys, Leanne here from Avoiding Broke. It's Sunday, which means it's podcast day, so happy Sunday to you all. I hope you've had a wonderful week and you are looking forward to the week ahead and you are happy and you're healthy. Those are the most important things. So today what I wanted to talk to you about on this podcast is setting your financial goals. And the reason why I wanted to cover this is because I feel like we spend a lot of our life talking about goals and ambitions and things like that, but do you actually have any for your financial for your finances? So we do it all the time in terms of, when we're at work, we have our objectives that we're assessed against. When you're at school, you maybe have your targets and things like that you're working towards. And there are other things. So if you're trying to, run a marathon, you may have your goals and objectives there. If you're trying to lose weight, you have the same thing. If you're trying to gain weight, you have the same thing. So, but I just thought, how often do we actually sit down and think about, what are our goals when it comes to our finances, our financial strategy? And actually, if we don't have a financial strategy, then do we actually make some of the money mistakes that we've spoken about in some of these podcasts before, where we may buy things that we don't actually need, we go for instant gratification on things, and sometimes we have choices of what we need to do with our money. Sometimes it is the case of, do we clear, say, credit card debt, or do we create an emergency pot of money? And having kind of some goals and some ambitions and actually thinking about what you want to do with your finance can actually help you when you're then thinking about, what should I do with the money that I have? And I think it can be really great to have that kind of guiding principle, but we may not actually know where to start when we're thinking about our financial goals. I know for me personally, I find it quite tricky sometimes, and I think maybe my goal is one thing and then it could be something else, and it can change at different points in your life as well. So before we had children, we had completely different financial goals. Now that we've got children, there are kind of some other things that we're thinking about in terms of making sure that we try to, as best as we can and balancing everything, set up a future for the boys as well, now that we've got 2 children. So these things can vary over your life as well. And there's also not to say that what you decide, say today your goals will still be your same goals in a year, because things change and adapt and happen. But I think what I really want to get across in this podcast is just the importance of actually having those goals to help you set your financial strategy, which can then give you kind of the mental tools, I think, is what I'm probably trying to get at. Those mental tools that can help you when you've got tough decisions to make. And when you're thinking about things in the moment, then having your goals or your strategy kind of there in your mind can actually help you make decisions. So how can you go about thinking about what your goals and your financial strategy should be? One of the things that you can do is actually just think about, what would make you happy? Close your eyes, think about yourself in 10 years' time, and think about, what would make me happy? What would I have to have achieved by this point to make me happy? And it's going to be different for everyone, but a few examples of things that you may consider are, say that you have a pot of money for emergencies. You could have a deposit saved for a house. You could have a deposit saved to start renting. You could have your credit card debt clear. You could have had a loan cleared, or like car finance or something like that if you've got something that you want to clear. You could have your budget. You could have reduced your expenses and cut out kind of some of that waste. That could be one of your goals. So there are so many different things that you can actually think about, but you have to think about what's going to make you happy as well. And it's not about kind of just blindly going after one thing and sacrificing everything else. So you need to see what your balance will be as well. So your overriding goal, for example, could be, I'm going to clear off my credit card debt, because that's one of the things that kind of has been really important to me through my life, is when I've had debt and when I have debt, is to think, okay, I actually want to get rid of that debt, because it's kind of, I feel the weight on my shoulders of that. And while it's not easy, it's definitely not easy, especially considering how much debt we can get ourselves into, especially in these challenging times of increased prices and things like that. And some of us are just, trying to get by, and we may be using our credit cards more, or thinking about some personal finance to try and help us with different things. it can be really kind of feel that pressure on your shoulders. That's one of the things that I've kind of really wanted to do throughout whenever I've had debt, and when I do have debt, is to think about that. But you also have to think about what's going to make you happy, and that doesn't mean that you sacrifice everything else. So it doesn't mean that you sacrifice your Friday nights out or your midweek takeaway, or you know, your treat for yourself, whatever that may be, your massage once a month or twice a month, something like that. But what it does mean is that you have your clear goal and you set aside money to do that each month when you can. And I know it's not easy at the moment for many of us, because like I say, the climate that we're living in at the minute is this world of kind of increasing prices and increasing interest rates as well, which, you know, has its pros and cons depending on what you're doing. If you're a saver, then yeah, it can be great. But if you've got a tracker mortgage, or, you know, even if you're trying to get a mortgage, then increasing interest rates isn't ideal. And also, if you kind of are in a position where you need to take, or you would like to, you don't even need to, maybe you'd like to take a loan for a purchase, then kind of those increasing interest rates can have an impact there. But so what I'm trying to say is, you know, have your goals, think about where you want to be in the future and what's going to help you get there, and that can really help you set your financial strategy. And I've given you a few ideas about different things that it could be, and shared what I've thought about as well. But yeah, I think it's really one of those things where kind of sit down, think about yourself, where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years time, whatever time horizon kind of works for you. It could be the next 2 years, 1 year, whatever time horizon works for you, and just think about what would make me happy, what would have to happen in that time with my financial situation to make me happy. And so I'm thinking about just our financial situation here, because there are many other things that are going to make you happy, but just focusing on your financial situation, because that's what we like to talk about on this podcast. And just think, you know, and then that gives you an end goal. And when you have that end goal, then you can think about the steps that you can take to get there. But one of the most important things, I think, is not about rigidly planning and sticking to a plan to get to where you're going, but actually it helps you in the moment. It helps you in those times when you've got a decision to make and you can think, okay, how does this fit with what I want to do? How does this fit with where I see myself in 1 year, 2 years, 10 years time? And so I just wanted to share with you that tool to help you, because it doesn't always have to be so black and white when we set our goals. It's not all about, you know, saving, clearing debt and things like that. There could be many things that are going to make you happy. And I think it may seem a bit strange to be talking about happiness in a personal finance podcast, but actually being happy is one of the most important things that we're going to do in our lives. And money worries and financial stress can really impact on that happiness. So that's why I really want to talk about it here. But if you have a goal and a plan and you're working towards it, then I think that can really help. And it can also help you, like I said, in those moments when you have decisions to make. You may decide not to upgrade your mobile phone. You may decide that you'll go away for 1 week instead of 2 weeks on your summer holiday or something like that, whatever it may be. But yeah, balance is important. Definitely not saying don't have fun, don't have your holidays or anything like that, but just think about your goals and how that can help you with your strategy. So guys, I really hope that you found that useful. I really look forward to speaking to you again next week. Jermaine or I will be back next Sunday. And in the meantime, you have a wonderful week and look after yourselves and stay happy and stay healthy. And I'll speak to you soon. Okay guys, bye.